Yo, what's up guys? We are here with another video. Now this one's gonna be slightly different. This is going to be me and Phoenix debunking Mr. Tommo's recent video. Dangai Ichigo is stronger than Thousand Year Blood War. Silly. So I don't want this to be a long video, so let me just go ahead and dive on in. I listed 5 points that I wanted to debunk inside of this video. When you start realizing the things he's saying, it starts to fall apart in this video he made. Now, the first point is going to be Aizen's Hado 90 is the same power as he used in the Thousand Year Blood War. Now, this is just factually incorrect. From Deicide to Thousand Year Blood War, Kisuke already said that Aizen may have gotten stronger since his battle with Ichigo. It's literally Kubo giving us this information through the smartest character in the verse. And on top of that, later on in his video, Mr. Tommo said that he recently made an Aizen video and how he's gotten stronger since being locked up in Mukin. I mean, that is factual. But then he says he theorized that he moved on from his transcendency and is focusing more on his Soul Reaper powers to refine his Kido mastery and his Kyoka Suigetsu. Well, if you already said that they are the same Hado, how can you make a video prior to that saying that Aizen's power grew when he started focusing more on his Soul Reaper powers, his Kido mastery, and Kyoka Suigetsu? In my opinion, this is just inconsistent. If a character gets stronger, then it stands to reason that his Kido has gotten stronger as well. It doesn't make sense for the only difference between these two moments is that in one he said an incantation and for the other one he didn't. This goes back all the way to the Soul Society arc. In chapter 176, Aizen said that he couldn't summon even a third of Hado 90's true power against Saji. If he calls that a failure, of course he'll keep working at it and improving it all the way up until Thousand Year Blood War. This is Kubo just showing us Aizen is progressing not only himself, but his Kido as well. In my opinion, this is totally contradictory to Aizen's character saying that it's the same power, saying that nothing has changed. I mean, that's just factually incorrect. My second point is that he said that Ichigo in the Thousand Year Blood War, him killing Soul King Yuha, is probably the most impressive thing. Yet he finds it hard to believe that that same Ichigo in the Thousand Year Blood War in his Bankai form can easily slap Hado 90 like Dangai did. To me, this is just silly because for some reason, blowing away the mountain to him is just this impressive feat. But I could even argue that him swatting away Grimjow's Gran Rey Cero back in the Hueco Mundo arc is actually more impressive. He put on his mask and he was able to swat it away like it was nothing. But that's the ultimate Cero. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just a mountain that Ichigo blew away by deflecting Aizen's blade. So to me, I don't really think that's all that impressive of a feat. I think that's really silly, and I find it goofy when people think the highest feat in Bleach is wiping away a mountain. If Ichigo is able to one-shot Yuha in his Soul King form, it stands to reason that that same Ichigo can swat away a mountain if he so chose to. It's similar to the whole Dragon Ball situation. You know that they could destroy a planet, but you don't need to see every panel, every time that they fight, that they're wiping out a planet. Or that they're even saying that, oh my gosh, the planet almost was destroyed just now because of that punch. You don't need to hear that just to know that they can do that. It's the same situation here. In chapter 619, Yuha literally said that you regain the power that you once had after defeating Aizen. And this isn't him talking about Bankai Ichigo. But yet Tommo keeps saying true Bankai is compared to Dangai. The reality is that he's not talking about Bankai Ichigo or even Horn of Salvation Ichigo. He's talking about base Ichigo. When you look at Horn of Salvation and Bankai, these are other multipliers that he's able to stack on top of what he already has. So it feels like there was hardly any research for this video when he made this. I have to call it out like I see it, and this isn't it. And my third point, he claims that there is no difference between Deicide and the Blade is Me conclusion, apart from the fact that Ichigo understands his power even more, which is very disingenuous and quite honestly is disrespectful to the story that Kubo has been telling this entire time. But Phoenix, go ahead and take it from here.
For me, with the way that he's presenting it, he's confusing the conceptual depth that Deicide is with the power level of what Thousand Year Blood War actually is. And while I think it is good that you pay respects to Dangai Ichigo. I mean, there's countless souls that already do that. In my personal opinion, niggas should pay more respects to, Lost Agent Art Ichigo, but that's neither here nor there. The main thing that I need to point out is his line of thinking implies that you can use the same technique as somebody else. You can use the same Hado, same Bakudo, and it be the same level. I don't think that that is the case because of how flexing spiritual pressure works. It wouldn't make sense for, let's say, a full incantation from Tokyo-ku infused Aizen to make a Kurohitsugi that is the same as one that he has vastly surpassed in power, his previous form, with no incantation. The same power level? Absolutely not. Not when he's had years to do what? Perfect it, because that's what you can do in Bleach. You can perfect and master. It's called mastery. They do that with Kido. They do it with Zanjutsu. They do it with Hakuda. They do it with all of these things. So that was just one major point that I feel like wasn't really getting brought to the light that I feel like I needed to share.
I mean, even look at Soul Society arc, right? So I said it earlier in the video, but Aizen in Soul Society, he used the Hado 90 against Sajin. And what did Gin say? He was like, a Hado 90 with no incantation? And then Aizen was like, well, that was a failure. I wasn't even able to use a third of its destructive capabilities, which is crazy. So it doesn't make sense to me why he wouldn't practice his Kido ever since Soul Society all the way up to Thousand Year Blood War.
Right, exactly. And as you just said, he wasn't even able to unleash a third, which means that you can use Bakudo and Kido and even Kaido without having it perfected or even getting the incantation down. Hell, we see it with Rukia in the Substitute Shinigami arc. She was able to use her Kido, but it was at a different level. So we know that they have varying levels that they can use. So that line of thinking is flawed.
And now my fourth point, this is less of a debunk and more of me just wanting to clear up this common misconception that people have. It's about Aizen's arm being fused with his sword. This is when he's fighting against Ichigo, and he says that, wow, it looks like I've become one with my blade. It looks like we came to a similar conclusion for our evolution. But I want to go ahead and just clear this up. This was never an endpoint or a conclusion to anything. This was just a stepping stone to what's to come. This is about being one with your blade. I mean, it's literally confirmed in chapter 421. Ichigo's and Aizen's evolution was always going to be different from one another. After all, Ichigo is a natural hybrid as opposed to Aizen, who's just a Shinigami, trying to imitate being a hybrid. Aizen was only making a hypothesis when he was fighting against Ichigo in chapter 418. There's a lot more to say about this, but I'll leave it there for now. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to go ahead and clear that up. I mean, after all, in the Thousand Year Blood War, we see that Aizen no longer has his Zanpakuto. Well, this is because he's literally one with his blade. Now he doesn't have to show the blade in order to put someone under Kyoka Suigetsu. They look at him and then they're under the ability. This is completely different than how Ichigo's evolution and his conclusion actually ended up. I love that Kubo did this, but it's a shame that people don't understand that. And my last part that I want to debunk is the White Tensei Zangetsu part.
Yeah, because again, that's where the conceptual part comes into play. It is. I mean, it quite literally is. But at the same time, it does not mean that, oh, this means he can keep up with Thousand Blood War, because again, he's still in a fragmented state. So this is everything he is currently, but because he doesn't even know himself, he's accepted himself without knowing who he really is. And that is the fundamental difference. It's about the journey of knowing yourself, learning yourself, growing with yourself. That's how you get that power. And be that as it may, it quite literally is in our face. He hasn't gotten that yet because we just got teased about, his other parent when he was fighting Aizen, pre going to the Dangai. So yeah, I just need the needs us to use our heads just a little bit more. Just a little bit.
I mean, even in Thousand Year Blood War, right? If that is truly the full realized version of Ichigo's power that he's so claiming to be, why didn't Ichigo take on that form in Dangai? Maybe, just maybe, he's not, you know what I mean? Like he's not there yet. He's not able to use that power. It took form in a different way. And then on top of that, in the Thousand Year Blood War, what form did Ichigo actually take on against Yuha? White Tensei Zangetsu, the Horn of Salvation. You know what I mean? So like in no way, shape, or form does it make sense to say that Dangai is stronger than Thousand Year Blood War. And quite honestly, he's really like specifying Bankai Thousand Year Blood War, which is not even kinda, it's very silly. Yuha, like I said earlier, he wasn't talking to Ichigo in Bankai when he said you regain the power you had after fighting Aizen. He was talking to Ichigo in his base. And that's before Horn of Salvation. That's before True Bankai Ichigo. So it just doesn't make sense as to why True Bankai would just now be on the level of Dangai when full brain Bankai Ichigo exists and post Royal Palace training Ichigo exists. You know what I mean?
Thank God. Thank you for saying that because oh my goodness, dog. The Royal Palace training, that Soul King amp that you get, bruh, it is undeniable. It's undeniable. It's like the same it's like the same conceptual thing as like how when JJK sorcerers hit a black flash. Like, man, once you hit it, yo, like it's different. It's different. And I don't see how somebody could be like, yeah, getting all these amps, you see the boost. Like, you literally see it. And then especially, I'm not going to get too much into this, but you especially see this in the anime, and I know he primarily focuses manga, but the anime is doing the manga justice. It is actually correcting and doing things better. So I feel like we should also use these anime clips while bringing up these statements.
No, for sure. Like, and that was me being generous, if I'm being honest. Like, me not bringing up the anime, I was trying to, level with him and just go off of the manga. But the anime already, like, doubles down on it. You know what I mean? Like, and not to mention, Kubo is working with the anime, so why aren't we talking about the anime? And that's one of the things that I just feel like he's stuck in the past. It just doesn't make sense. If you're trying to get a point across, it doesn't make sense as to why you just stay with the manga when the anime has been doing what the manga presented and more thanks to Kubo's supervision. Once again, guys, this wasn't going to be anything long. I just really had to bring this up, and I just think that, as such a big YouTuber as he is, I think we should get across the correct information. I get it, we all love Dangai. I still do to this day, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that, it's stronger than Thousand Year Blood War when canonically Kubo has already disproven that multiple times in the Thousand Year Blood War and in the anime version. So, Phoenix, thank you for being here, man. Anything you want to say, man?
Yeah, I know Mr. Tommo loves the manga and Dangai Ichigo. He also uses the manga material a lot. However, for Thousand Year Blood War, I feel it needs to be utilized in the anime a lot more. So I'll wrap this up with a quote from Aizen. Admiration is the furthest state from understanding.